Hello people, welcome back to the channel, and for all those who are viewing the channel for the first time, check out my videos. If you like what you hear, like what you see, press that subscribe button. It feels like it's been a while since I've done a video on my channel, but today I thought of an idea that I feel as if would be relevant for most Jamaicans and relevant for most people who have friends or family in Jamaica. And today's vlog is titled Giving Back to Jamaica, a great sentiment but a bad idea. And I based that title upon my personal experiences. So everybody experiences different, but as Jamaicans we all have something in common. Having something in common starts with some cultural attitude. And one of the cultural attitude that we all as Jamaicans have is that, when you grow up in a poor country, I don't really care if you were born and raised in the high scale of Jamaica or in the ghettos of Jamaica. All of us have faced some levels of poverty. When you compare the past to the present, Jamaica has came a long way, and none of us had really escaped it. Some of us had it better than others in the 80s, in the 70s, and so on and so forth. But all of us know struggle as Jamaicans. Poverty and struggle isn't anything new to Jamaicans. So one of the cultural things about Jamaicans is taking care of each other. Taking care of each other expands even more when one of us migrates to so-called foreign, And the expectation from Jamaicans who go to foreign is to look back. It's expected for Jamaicans who become expats to look back. In other words, you're making money, you know how the thing is in Jamaica, so send back a little thing to your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your friends, your cousin, and so on and so forth. That's a culture. Kindness is embedded in most human beings despite their nationality. But in Jamaica, kindness has adapted a cultural aspect of people from Jamaica or people with Jamaican heritage. In other words, if you should go to foreign and never look back and never help out anyone that's remained in the island, you're looked down at. You're seen as a bad seed. You're almost seen as an evil person. You're almost seen as wicked. You're condemned where Jamaicans are concerned if you so-called got the opportunity to go to foreign. Whether or not your job in foreign is a cleaning job that you're barely making it, or you've made it to an executive position, people in Jamaica expect you to always look back. Looking back is not only an expectation or a demand, but looking back is also a good thing, Kindness is a positive thing. But at the same time, kindness has its negative effects. And I'm going to elaborate on the reason why I say it's a good sentiment, but it's a bad idea. The reason why I've labeled it now a bad idea is I've received personally a lot of negative experiences from that whole looking back. So over my time of so-called living in foreign, I've lived in several foreign countries, and there was a time when I was truly integrated with people that remained in Jamaica, but not anymore. Now I live in Switzerland, and the last I heard, it's less than 300 the Jamaican families that live in Switzerland, and Switzerland is a country of 8 million people. So seeing a Jamaican on a daily basis, that would probably be something that one would have to go out of their way to find. So I don't know any Jamaicans here. And when I lived in England, I knew more Jamaicans. And some of those Jamaicans that I knew, we went way, way back to our childhood days. And when I lived in America, I went to America through my mom. So my mom is obviously Jamaican, and my brothers and sisters are Jamaican. So the Jamaican circle was tighter then. And as I got older, it became less and less and less. I'm sure if I comb with a fine-tooth comb in Jamaica, I probably could find some distant relative. But in Jamaica, I don't really have any relatives or anyone that I consider family. Over my time of living in foreign, I've helped countless amount of people to migrate to foreign. And I'm not talking about human trafficking here. I'm talking about legally assisted people to migrate to the United States, the UK, whether it's on visit or to stay or whatever. And not all, but at the time when I was integrated with Jamaicans on that level, more than half of those assistants you regret. You know what I mean? Because what people tend to do when they're in Jamaica, people tend to ask you, to beseech to you. And even though you explain the situation to them that's going on in foreign, when Jamaicans want to go to these places, they agree to all terms and conditions. And then when they actually got to foreign and the terms and conditions started to be a reality, all of a sudden you who sent for them become the bad guy, Sometimes they go back to Jamaica, sometimes they stay, but whatever is it that they do, they always publish you as someone who treated them real bad, or someone who brought them in a condition that they had no awareness of, and so on and so forth. So I've had that experience where Jamaicans are concerned. Making the story more relatively real, I have to put one or two of my personal experience in details in it. You know what I mean? So there was one incident that a friend of mine, I actually knew him from school, and we came across each other some 20, 30 years later, and he asked me if I could help him, financially or whichever way to get him to go to England, So at the time I was living in England, so I was like, okay, no problem. I fund the trip and got him to England. The reason why this particular person stands out to me is because something happened during his migration that I don't think ever happened to any of the Jamaicans. It probably happened, but it's not something that happened all the time. And what happened was he came to England on day one, and day two I found him a job, and I thought not even me myself had that experience. I didn't get a job straight away, but he got a job like the very next day, because at the time I had established myself in England. I knew people, and it was easy to get him a job. It was one of those hotel assistants job that you assist the chambermaid to turn mattresses or clean light bulbs and things like that. And he wasn't happy with the job. He said he didn't come to England to make bed or clean toilets or whatever, and he knew some people in London, so he said he was going to go and stay with them. So I didn't mind. England work and administration is one of those things that it's up to par, and it was up to par then. So even if you work just 1 or 2 days and you left, then England will still pay. His wage went into my account, and I called him and I says to him, yeah, your wage is here, what you want me to do with it? So he told me to send it to him, and he gave me an address, and I sent it to him in cash, and it wasn't a lot of money. I can't remember how much it was, but I'm sure it was less than £100, so it was enough to put in a birthday card and send to him. Anyway, he claimed that he didn't receive the money, and not only that he didn't receive the money, word got out where, he was trying to ruin my reputation by saying I stole whatever amount of money it was that he worked for. I was really annoyed because the amount of money that I invested in flying him over or picking him up from the airport, just the money that I invested in picking him up from the airport was more than the money that he worked for. And for him to go out his way to say I stole money from him, I was really, really hurt, And that was one of my many associated with Jamaica bad experiences about aiding Jamaican. But I grew up partially with my mom, and my mom, maybe I got it from her. My mom is always a generous person. My mom has always been a kind person. My mom's the type of person that would pick up a stranger off the street. And when I say she would, I mean there was an incident that I remember when I was a kid. My mom picked this kid up off the street. She went out shopping and she came back with a kid, and I says, who's, we all said, who's that? And my mom was like, well, I was in halfway tree and I saw this kid getting mistreated, so I decided to take him home. She took home this guy, it was around my age at the time, and what stood out about this kid is I remember that he slept for about 5 days in a row. He only woke up to eat, and he went back to sleep and he just slept. And one day we were outside playing, and this zombie of a person woke up when we were outside playing and just robbed us and left. He went in my mom's purse, took all the cash she had, and just robbed us. And even though my mom had that experience, it never stopped her from extending her generosity. So, I grew up seeing kindness, and, even when we don't have it, we help out who we can, But let's keep it on giving back to Jamaica being a bad idea. So last year I had a vacation in Jamaica, me, my wife, and my 2 sons. And it was the first time that we were going back to Jamaica in about 9 years or so. And because over the years we've been vacationing, but we've been vacationing in other continents and other parts of the country, we decided that we're going to go back to Jamaica because that's my roots and that's my wife's roots, Jamaica, So we kind of says, unlike when we went to Mexico, we went to a hotel and a resort, this is Jamaica. So we didn't want to give money to investors of Jamaica. We wanted to give money to Jamaicans who are trying to make it. So we ruled out resorts and we ruled out established hotels, and we thought, let's do a villa, let's make Jamaicans earn from us. And we rented this villa for 2 weeks, and I can't remember, I knew it was more than 2,000 US. It was about 2,100 and something US for 2 weeks. It was a 3-bedroom villa. And we decided, okay, we're gonna pay this. When we got to the villa in Jamaica, we learned that it's a Jamaican that actually owns it, but he resides in Canada, so like, okay, it doesn't matter where he resides as long as the money is going into a Jamaican hand. So we didn't really care. The villa was fair, it seemed like it was locked up for a while and it was a little dusty and everything. If you want to get fussy and technical, you could say it was a little dusty, but overall it was okay. It was 3 bedrooms. My 2 sons had their own bedroom. My wife and I had our own bedroom with an ensuite bathroom and so on. Electricity was there. Hot and cold water was there. We had a little problem with the internet for a couple days, but nothing to lose our mind over. It was a family holiday and it was great. Plus it had AC and the AC worked, and we had a fair enough stay. We wouldn't say it was a wonderful stay, but we had a fair enough stay. We didn't have any headache. We didn't have any, other than my sons losing their mind over not having Wi-Fi and the internet, our stay was okay. The time to check out, where the caretaker come and we did a walkthrough and everything was satisfactory. And it was good. We were happy that we gave money to our own people. But about a week or 2 after we left Jamaica, there were some problems because the landlord contacted us and says the electric bill was about 50,000 Jamaican dollars. And I didn't care if it was true or false. When I paid my 2,000 US, I paid for my stay and my utility. I'm not even arguing whether or not the JPS actually sent him that ridiculous bill, because when I calculated the money, it was enough electricity for me and my family to use 2.5 months. More or less, he's saying that's what they sent him for us staying there 2 weeks. Anyway, it put a bad taste in my mouth, and without painting this landlord black, or negative, let me say, he did say he's not really asking us for any money. But the mere fact that our holiday was over, our business contract was closed, it still made us felt a bit not so good that he still contacted us to tell us that he is facing a 50,000 Jamaican dollar bill. And then after that, we just kind of decided that, you know what? No more Jamaican villas. No more private rental in Jamaica for our vacation. We're going to have to just go to resorts the next time we go to Jamaica, because our kindness was a good sentiment, but it was a bad idea, because it did not let us feel any different than if we were staying at someone's home in Jamaica. And let's face it, a lot of expats who goes back to Jamaica and go stay with their family or friends or people they know just because it's saving them money, the stress that it comes with, when you weigh up the pros and cons, it would have been better if you just stayed at a resort and paid the money. But because you want to feel as if, well, you want to get in with your culture and you don't want any Jamaicans to think that you're guani, you actually went and stayed local. What usually happens when you stay local is, even though you fund them, even though you give money towards the food, even though you give money towards transportation, even though you give money that's enough to cover all utilities, 9 times out of 10, when you go back to foreign, it's always a different story. It's always the fact that you came to Jamaica and they went above and beyond for you, and you didn't even give them nothing. You didn't even look back. You didn't even help out. And yeah, they give me a little money, but it wasn't enough to take care of everything and how I took care of them, because I took them to Devon House, and I took them to Emancipation Park, I took them to Duns River, and blah, blah, blah. And all they gave me was 500 or 1,000 US or whatever is it that you give them. The point is, giving back to Jamaica, it's a good sentiment, but it's a bad idea, because you always end up having some regret. Now, I decided to do this vlog because a lot of people are aware of this part of Jamaican culture. A lot of people might have had similar experiences, while a lot of people might disagree 100% with what I'm saying. But that's what this channel is about. This channel is about bringing up subject, bringing up topics, and agree and disagree, or agree to disagree. So where myself stand at the moment is like this: helping out Jamaicans or looking back or being grateful it's a good idea. It's a good idea to be kind to everybody, but not everybody that you want to help actually appreciates that help, and not everybody that you want to help actually need that help. A lot of Jamaicans, they have this habit. Jamaica have a bad habit. They don't really want or need a particular thing, but because they see you with more than one of it, they ask if they could have one. It's a dirty habit. It's a bad habit. If you don't have a want for it, and you don't really have a need for it, leave it alone. Anyway, like I say, whether you agree or you disagree, leave your comment, because on this channel, negative or positive comments are always welcome. Criticism, always welcome. If you're gonna disagree, do it with some reasoning, so the readers or the viewers can get a full stance of your point of view, including myself, because I do read everyone's comment. So that's pretty much the topic for the day. Like I say, if you guys are new to the channel, without hesitation, if you like this vlog, give it a thumbs up. And if you like what I'm about, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace.